Dragon Quest XI.
Yes.
The echoes of an elusive age itself.
Yes.
Elusive with an EL. Not elusive man.
Not. That's how I kept reminding myself. Not.
So this
elusive
is
man.
an age we can't really recall. It's hazy.
Believe
we
it or
don't really
not,
know.
there's been a lot of legends told in this world about a
Yes.
chosen one. It's a very
Yes.
noble figure. So, Reiner, you're a fan of Dragon Quest, but you haven't played this one yet, right? Kim, you reviewed this game and you gave it what score?
825.
Okay, and you've poured
Over 100 hours into this. This has been one that almost broke me because it was just like a lot.
I like when an 825 game almost broke you.
Well, because it's a lot of content. Anybody
Yeah.
who goes into it like this game, those who like to get bang for their buck, and I will say this for them: like there is a lot to do in this world. Half of it is really fun. Some of it's worth skipping.
The side quests.
Side quests suck.
They really seem bad. So I'm like
They're
8.5
horrible.
hours in, and everyone
okay.
I've dabbled
Oh my
with.
God, you're not even okay.
You haven't even got to the title card yet.
Yeah, you know what? Leo, just mute my mic because at this point, only 8.5 hours in. Okay. Anyways, Kim, tell me about this game.
Yeah, for sure. I'm somebody who grew up with the Dragon Quest series. If you read my work, I've been talking about this game quite a bit because it has been a while since we've had Dragon Quest on console. And 8 is my favorite.
Mine
8 and
too.
5. 8 and 5, I would say. And I've been hearing a lot of comparisons to 8 for this. I would say I see some of that.
I've heard. I've only played 5 myself, and I absolutely loved it. I've started other ones, but I've heard that a lot of 11, it's so in love with its own history, and it has a lot of like kind of vague callbacks
Yes.
to like
if you are
allusions, if you will.
If you are a fan, because they did this to celebrate their 30th anniversary. So if you're a fan, you will catch kind of fun little things that'll make you smile and laugh. And I always like the dad jokes that Jorge adds in.
What type of stuff?
Like
Is it just like
it's
enemy
just,
names?
It's just fun. It's just it's not just enemy names. It goes on to like certain characters like will embarrass themselves with certain things they like magazine wise.
You got to get specific. Oh,
Wait,
okay.
there's like porn in the Dragon Quest universe?
It's not.
Oh.
You can also get a puff puff.
What is that?
Oh, you don't use your imagination.
This is a weird game.
That was in every game. Well, it is. That I will say too. Dragon Quest is. It always has a little bit of this weird sense of humor, and there's some weird stuff that happens in this game. Like even I was just like, this is really weird, but it's kind of really awesome at the same time.
Okay, give me the arc of your enjoyment, because I've also heard some people, like, I'm starting to pick up the pace. I just got Silvando.
Yeah,
and like the desert stuff.
Silvando is great.
Okay, but the characters are starting to pick up now, and I hear
yes.
that the characters just get better and better.
Yes, that is my one thing. Like this game, for all the criticism that Dragon Quest has gotten with story and characters, I would say this is the best cast they've ever had.
Wow.
Designed by Akira Toriyama?
Yes.
In theory. Yeah. I don't know if he's sitting down and sketching all these characters. I'm sure it's like, just do it in my style.
Send an
I'll be over
email,
here.
red shirt.
Yeah.
And what's cool about, like I said, I was telling, people were asking me when I first started, I'm like, well, it's kind of a slow start, but once you start getting more party members and you get the complete party, then it really picks up and gets super interesting.
Okay.
Super interesting to the point, like, this is why I was happy I got a good night's sleep last night. I've been playing this game till like 6, 8 in the morning because I've just been
What are you talking
glued.
about?
I've been glued to it. It's
8 in the morning?
Yes. This is why I'm so tired.
Jesus Christ.
I just get really into things, but I will say the characters have really interesting backstories. The way the whole party comes together is intriguing, and
And unlike a certain other JRPG that just came out not too long ago, Octopath Traveler, these characters interact with each other, and that's part of the thrill of gathering a party for an
it's
JRPG.
nice. Like I said, Jade is one of my new favorite characters. Sylvando is a charmer.
I think Veronica has a bizarre, interesting backstory.
Yes, everybody
Yeah.
has these really interesting stories. So I really like that part of the game, and like I said, the part. It does what I love. I am a big fan of turn-based battle systems. I don't ever want them to go away.
Yeah.
I
They scare me now. If I see a line of characters in front of an enemy, I'm like, uh-oh.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like
erotically
I
turned
love
on.
these. Oh,
not where I thought this conversation was go. But I like being able to like strategize, and what I liked about Dragon Quest 11, and so bear with me here also on the beginning, you don't have a lot of powers, but once you start unlocking stuff, oh my gosh, and you save up because it's a little hexagonal grid, and you put points for each character, and each character has a specialty. And
It's a
then,
little sphere gritty.
Yeah, and then
That's good.
exactly.
That's a
and
good thing.
2 weapons that they really focus on and can wield. Some have a little more, but going through that and opening that grid, so you can always see kind of what's ahead, and then there's some squares you can't see that are question marks that are like you have to unlock other squares around it to see them.
Okay.
But those are usually really powerful skills, so you want to. Anyways, for example, my favorite thing is the character Eric. He's like a thief, so a lot of
Don't
his
care
stuff,
for him.
I don't like his accent.
Okay.
I wrote about that. That one, he's not, I thought I was going to like him the most, but I didn't. But for battle, oh my gosh. So you can use he gets a divide skill later on. So he gets doppelgangers. And so you can do 3 times the attack. And he also has
That sounds
ability.
OP.
He also has an ability that guarantees him a critical. So if you use that first, then the crit, you get over 1,000 damage easily.
So I have to keep Eric in my party?
It is so satisfying. Well, I didn't use him for a bunch of the game until I unlocked those abilities, and I was struggling on a boss, and I was like, let me look and see what I have in my arsenal here. And I was like, oh gosh, why wasn't I using this sooner? Like, this is super powerful. Plus, also like Veronica, you can unlock a skill for her to double cast for the price of 1, and she's another one who can just annihilate people once you unlock that skill.
Is it? I've heard some people complain it's a little bit too easy overall.
It starts that way. So here's what I'll say. I had no problem getting through to the credits. I even did a lot of bosses I feel like under-leveled and still was fine because I was trying to get as much in for the review as possible, and then I did some side stuff. But once so there's the credits, but you want to reload after the credits because you're not really done. There's a true ending, and the true ending is when, I'm going to swear right here, so bleep this, shit gets real.
Oh.
It is very much... a lot of hard bosses to the extent like I had one I was going into and like 3 of my party members just died with 1 attack off the bat.
Love it.
So it's definitely that old school like, all right, you might not be at the right level for this, but for me, it kind of gets the wheels turning in my head. Okay, which skill am I not using? Who do I need to buff up? And also like there's the crafting, okay, the fun size forge, which
Next to your camp, they have what they call a
Yes.
fun-size forge in a very cheeky Dragon Quest
Yes.
way, where you can make amazing weapons and armor.
Yeah,
and stuff.
so I was trying to like up my weapons because you can create weapons through that, but also your existing weapons, you can pump up more power into them by reworking them. So you can get like +3, whatever they do. So, I mean, there's a lot to play with that here within it. So there's a lot of elements to consider.
Okay, Reiner, you said you were turned off by turn-based battles, seeing characters line up. I'm still a little
that's
bit...
like, it's not a turnoff. It's just what are they doing to make this fun and
Right.
different?
Well,
I think that's a great question.
This is what I like people. I read mixed comments on kind of what I had said, which it happens with every review. And for me, I've been playing this series for 30 years, and I love this series, and I want to see it thrive and live on. But in 30 years, it hasn't really... It doesn't, there's something charming about the fact that it has stayed very true and classic.
And just to have like a good sized budget, just, all right, we're going to build the hell out of this classic style RPG.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
But
I agree.
you need to modernize some things for it and, change some stuff up a little bit. Within the turn-based battle system, I look at something like Persona 5 where they just like changed all the dungeons and they had some, more interesting attacks that you were able to
Even
do.
Octopath Traveler, to go back to that, like everybody loves that battle system.
Yeah, exactly. And so for this, it's more of the same, and the formula works, and it's still fun. Like, I had fun, but in certain points, it shows, like, it's not classic anymore, it's archaic. So, like, you can't save anywhere, and that, at this point in our... either you put the save points right next to the bosses, or you should have a save anywhere button in an RPG.
Right.
Just, like, hands down.
The battle system is something that it's still bizarre. It's probably not a good sign for your battle system when it defaults to like automating a majority of the characters.
Don't leave it automated. Oh my
No.
gosh, they're
It'll go a
so
little bit
bad.
faster, but you should dive through. So
Yeah,
you don't drive
you
yourself
should. You
insane.
should make yourself have. I don't know. I took over control because I don't like giving away control. to other
Assuming
people.
control. And then also the weird thing was, like, it starts out with the default where you can run around in battle a little bit Star Ocean-y, but it's like, is there any strategic
No,
advantage?
it doesn't matter.
That's what's
the
crazy.
thing.
There's an option then in the menu,
'Cause
Reiner, to make it like line up in a row and just make it more classic. It's like, well, I'd like to do this, but if I'm missing the ability to like dodge
because-
these attacks.
Yeah, I tried that when I first had tried the import version a while ago because I've been amped up for this game. And I wanted to see what it was about. I was like, oh, does it matter like if I attack them from behind and move my character? It doesn't.
That's so silly.
It's
So
just
if they
like
do
they
like a-
wanted to be able to say you can move around on the battlefield, but it's really not.
If they do an attack with splash damage, it's going to hit you even if you're behind.
Yes.
Isn't that weird?
Yes, because
Wow.
I was trying that stuff at first, and I was like, all right, this doesn't matter. I'm just going to go in classic design. So like I said, there are certain elements. I feel like this game also, okay, you want to get the true ending because there's something very...
Well, what is it about, by the way? We haven't set up like
Well,
who I
it's
am.
the typical save the world plot of Dragon Quest.
So here you are, right?
Is it
You
coming
are-
of age?
You are...
Kind of. Well, you do have a coming of age ceremony to
Yes.
kick off the
Yes,
game.
you do.
Yes.
Here's,
You-
here. Oh, also a great reference to the beginning, Reiner. You'll never imagine this, right? Where it was
Wait, amnesia?
No.
Do I have- oh.
No.
They
But damn
blew it.
close.
They
But what
blew
it
it.
is it's like, oh, there's the kingdom, and they're scared of this baby being born with a certain mark because they're the chosen one.
Mm-hmm.
So the baby's born, and they put the baby in a basket and send it down the river to try and hide the baby, which is insane because just the day before I started playing this game,
You were in a basket in a river.
I was in a basket in a river. No,
Yeah.
I watched the movie Willow, and it is literally the exact opening of Willow and Dragon Quest XI, both those
Yeah.
back to back.
I'll put it this way. You are fated to have a hand in saving the world from this darkness.
This
everybody
is
wants to know-
classic
Yeah.
ass JRPG,
It's
right?
classic. It is classic. But I will say for the story's kind of, it's okay. But the characters are what make it, and
Okay.
that stuff is
that
all
happens
good.
a lot
And the
with JRPGs,
backstories
yeah.
for like while this plot seems basic, how the characters come together, as I said before, is just really satisfying and really fun to watch,
Mm-hmm.
and even has some twists I wasn't expecting. And it's really hard to surprise me at this point with everything I've played. So
Right.
You
They
know-
do some new things. Okay. So one of the reasons the in theory localization took so long for this game to come out to the West is they added full voices.
yes, since Dragon Quest VIII, which made that became really powerful, they have used a lot of British voices, and
Yeah.
one sounded Scottish to me.
I keep alternating between having them on or turning them off. Now I'm at a point where I think I'm just going to leave them off because I hate having text on the screen in an RPG and then having to listen to their dialogue because I'm like reading faster
But
than they're
that's part
speaking.
of their personality. It brings
I
life.
get
I know,
it.
but in Japan when it released, it did not have voice acting. So they
Whoa,
added this.
Which is weird.
Also, they're, like I said, very particular about the script, and they wanted to make sure it got translated
Well, you
precisely.
can't-
Every dad joke has to be right.
Right. You can't botch the names of some of these
Yeah.
enemies like Cruel Cumber. Cruel Cumber is in the beginning. Is a
Yeah,
very cool
it-
enemy. It's
yeah,
a lot of
it's-
good puns in there.
Yeah, the puns are great. Tim Turry would love this game.
Yeah, I think Cruel Cumber is one of his favorites, actually. I think that's why it stands out.
But the voice acting is hit or miss. Even for me, if you watch our new gameplay today on it,
Yeah.
Cork and Leo are just like, oh, this music, like
Yeah.
yeah. Well, as somebody who's been a fan of the series, like that's the classic music, like that gives you that nostalgia.
Dude,
like, that's
orchestrate it.
and
That
the
music
sound
is
effects.
grating.
They
It
have
sounds,
the old side effects. Well, it's, sound effects rather, but it's overused a bit.
It's like every time you go into a dungeon or an area, it does like that type of weird sound. And the music, it's really maybe one of the weakest parts of the game at this
It's a
point.
weaker Dragon Quest sound score. I feel like
Yeah.
it's not the best. My other thing too is just to get back into the difference I find between how I felt about 8 and 11. So this is the first one, on console in over. It's
Since
in,
PS2.
PS2,
well,
yeah.
not counting the Japanese release of 10.
Yeah, 10 it was an MMO, so we'll just count that out for a second
All
for
right.
us.
Yeah.
But they probably learned a lot with an MMO trying to build out worlds and stuff.
Yeah?
When I don't know about you, Reiner, when you played, but when I played 8, I was just so enamored with the world, and I just was. It really shocked me and amazed me, and I want to be in it. We've had games advance so much at this point that a world like this with, there's nothing wrong with having more of a linear structure. I actually don't mind that. It's just, there's just not a lot of fun things to do. Everything's just so by the numbers. I think the villages and everything had their own good, like distinct places you go. Like at one point you go to Nautica, which is like this mermaid, underwater place. But as you get further in, it's just like I wasn't impressed by the world the way I usually that was with 8, which kind of for me was a little bit of a letdown.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. Especially just playing Ni no Kuni 2 this year, which is, I think, one of the things that
Love
game
that
excels
world,
at is every city, every world, or every town you go to is like, this is a weird, novel place for
Yeah,
RPG.
exactly. So that kind of was a little bit of a bummer for me. And then what really brought it down for me, so especially in the true ending, recycled dungeons. Every RPG does this. I get it. You put a lot of time into crafting a dungeon. You want another reason to use it. Well, if you're going to use it again, make something different or creative with it, or you're doing something else. Because
Change a color palette, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, because I don't like... there's a dungeon, oh gosh, in the true ending that I must have visited like 5 or 6 times. And I was just like, I don't want to go through this dungeon again. I just don't.
Kim, this sounds bad.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I'm going to say that I was thinking about this today. The true ending has something really great in it, but it really makes you work for it. And I don't know if I would do it over again. And so many people are like, play it for the true ending. And I'm like, it's a lot of stuff you have to do.
Will I be okay playing it? Because I think I'm going to beat this game. Like, I really want to finish another Dragon Quest. And it seems like a good contender. I'm enjoying my time with it so far, but only because I'm listening to podcasts while playing it. Like, I cannot imagine playing this game only focusing on this game. It feels a little bit World of Warcrafty, where you should have something else going on at times. But am I safe just letting credits roll, finishing the game, and then just going on YouTube and seeing the secret thing?
Kind of.
Okay.
I can't spoil, so it's
Please
like
don't.
this whole, people get mad when I do that. So
I understand
I don't want to.
Is it a coming of age moment?
No, I think it's just something special if you've been following the series.
Okay.
So
All right, that
if
seems
like
fine.
you're not a huge Dragon Quest fan, you can probably maybe take it or leave it.
Yeah.
But this has interesting callbacks to the series in a way you wouldn't expect, I'll say. But I mean, there's a lot of effort to get there. So I finished the main plot. You can probably to get to the credits, 60, 65 hours, okay? And that's me going at a pretty fast, brisk pace.
Sure.
I did some side quests. I didn't do all of them because those are, God, let's just get rid of fetch quests that are annoying. Because Dragon Quest also requires you to look through every nitty gritty thing for some of these side quests. Like locate this person in the town and go through and talk to everyone so you can make sure you're finding the right person. It's just stuff like that. Or find this.
That's old
book.
school.
Yeah, it's old school.
Trigger the next conversation.
It is so old school.
And that's
in
one of the
that
things. I mean, you started the conversation with it, but it is just so wild to see Square release this game and then also continuing with the Final Fantasy franchise, where they're trying to be so progressive with Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
And
that is what I feel like kind of is why people, because when I, it said it needs to change some stuff up. It just needs to evolve a little, Dragon Quest.
Yeah.
And then people are like, but look at what they did to Final Fantasy.
It is true.
I mean, I get it. I mean, I understand, but I don't think...
just meet us in the middle. Go to a Final Fantasy X level of progress is all I ask.
I don't think they need to do that. I think they could stick to it, but having things that just makes sense, saves anywhere.
Yeah.
That's what
Not
they need to do.
recycling
They can stick
dungeons.
to that formula.
Better side quests.
Infinite inventory. Have the map button be on the big touchpad on PS4. Don't have it be square and to run you hold R2. Just the UI and configuration there is so
it's
bizarre.
Not, it's not great.
You can't remap anything.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's just little things that bring it down, and I especially feel like that other path I did, just having to repeat all the stuff that I did, and that one gets really grindy. But there's some real cool bosses, special bosses, side bosses in there. And I feel too, the game does a good job, even through the true ending, even in the actual game. If you're gonna revisit a village, this is actually what it does better than dungeons. Is it really makes it interesting and worth it. You'll find out what happened with certain characters that you interacted with before.
Okay.
Their stories kind of go on, and I think that's good. That's what I want. I really wish they would do that with dungeons. That's all
It'd be nice.
my thing.
Last question I have: does the main character have a hamster in his pocket?
No.
That's a step down.
He does look like a brunette version of Trunks from Dragon Ball, if you're into that.
Yeah.
Especially because during battle, people get pepped up. And it's
Yes.
basically them going Super Saiyan.
Well,
It's
that's
like,
like
I'm
the-
getting pepped!
Yeah, that's like that's the
Totally.
tension system from 8 with a little bit of a twist of like you can
With a worse name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pep.
They're called pep powers. And
That's
like
kinda
I said,
good.
you can. It's basically how much damage you take, but you can never control how much the enemies. So it's hard to activate it. Like you can't activate it just on the fly.
Right.
It just happens at random times. But later in the game, you can get a power or an item that would just let you go into that, so you can plan that state
Transform
better.
into your pep form.
Yes.
Okay,
'Cause those
got it.
can do powerful. Well, they do really powerful attacks in the beginning of the game, and then as I went on into the later stuff, I was like, these powers aren't doing as much as my regular, higher attacks do.
Yeah.
So it kind of loses its fun and luster that way.
Gotcha.
Power.
I guess we're pepped up enough. All right, Kim, 8.25. Your
Yes.
review is on the site if you want even more thoughts about this game.
I will also have tips up before launch.
pep tips.
Because I spent 100 hours with this game. I might as well show you the things I wish I knew going in.
Empty your
Save
brain
you.
on GameInformer.com is what we always yell at employees. That was just a clip from a larger show called The Game Informer Show. You can find it on iTunes, Google Play, or GameInformer.com. We take the fun opportunities and exclusive information from Game Informer magazine and boil it into a show that airs every Thursday with exclusive cover story information, developer interviews, a lot of fun stuff. So come love games with us.